Hi, this is Jeff from Dexter's Radio Hour. This morning I had the pleasure of interviewing Roy McGrath, saxophonist and band leader, and we just met a week ago Tuesday at the 90 Mile Cafe, very intimate setting, and I said, Roy, can we do an interview sometime? He said, sure, let's do it. So 9 o'clock this morning after I worked a midnight shift, and I'm sure 9 is not the best time for a musician to be doing an interview, but he was very cooperative, and if you ever see him live, feel free to walk up and ask him anything you like, and he's a great guy. I also need to introduce my technical assistant, Domino the Wonder Dog. Roy is an Apple guy, and I'm a PC guy, so we had to consult with Domino, and we ended up using Facebook video chat and a program called ApowerSoft that records screen images and audio. And if there are any problems with dropouts in the audio or continuity, blame it on Domino. Let's talk about the business stuff first, then we can get into the fun stuff. You got your finger in so many things right now. Why don't you give me a rundown of some of the recordings you're working on and the show at 90 Mile Cafe and so forth? I'll just let you talk for a few
Sure.
minutes.
Awesome. Well, yeah. In February, we started a Latin jam session at 90 Miles Cuban Cafe. It's the first Latin jazz jam session that Chicago has had in 8 years. The one prior to that one was at Cafe Bolero, run by bassist Richie Piyot, who has since then passed away. Um, and it's sort of a big deal because it's the only space where Latino and Latin jazz musicians can like mix with American jazz musicians and play some of the stuff that we know,
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, for just a variety of reasons, it's been a great success. So that's one of the main things I'm doing right now.
I have to tell you, from my perspective, it's amazing to see jazz, let alone free jazz, in the Northwest. Well, I guess Lincolnwood's not. That'd be the northern suburbs, I guess. But anywhere
Oh,
outside of Chicago, it's at 7:30 Tuesday nights. Are you always there unless you're out of town, or?
for the most part, it's on a Tuesday, and that's awesome because, like, I mean, for the most part, musicians just don't work on Tuesdays,
Oh yeah.
So for the most part, I'm always there unless I'm out of town. I'm out of town this next week. I'm going to be in Miami. But but yeah, and no, you're absolutely right. It's the northwest suburbs, and we have a lot of people that drive 45 minutes just to come.
Yeah.
And they're regulars because of how important it's actually been.
Hmm. And again, from my perspective, it was a lot of fun. You had a little kid come up and
Yeah,
play the shaker. You had guest musicians. It was like something you'd pay $20 cover charge to see in Chicago.
yeah, and actually, I wish you would have come this Tuesday because they moved us into the main room.
Oh, really?
And man, yesterday was packed. It was insane. I had no idea it was gonna be like that. But I mean, it's been multiplying, and we had pretty much almost a packed club last night. We had like 30 musicians come out and hang and play.
Uh-huh.
Um, so yeah, no, we're really happy with it. It's a really fun thing to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I was there two weeks ago now, I guess,
Yeah.
and or a week ago Tuesday, because I was on vacation last week. Yeah,
Hmm.
oh, I guess it was 2 weeks ago. And you were in the side room, and there
Hmm.
were quite a few people in there. But for the quality of the show, it was really, and the food's reasonably cheap and
Yeah.
good, so it's a good venue.
Yeah, it's a good vibe. The owner Alberto, he really loves music. He really loves bringing people together. He's a cool guy, and it's been really great having a like a working relationship with that club. They're good people. They really are really good people over at 90 Miles.
Hmm. Who was the trumpet player that? I mean, there were several good musicians there, but the trumpet player kind of stood out to me. I want to go into more detail on it, but what do you know his name? First of all, do you remember who I'm talking about?
I think the guy. Well, let's see.
There was a black guy and there was a white guy. They both
A
played
white guy,
trumpet.
yeah. So that day that was Leon Q Allen. Leon's the black guy, and the white guy was Thomas Madeja.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that leads into my next question or area of discussion. You seem to have a natural talent as kind of as a band leader, and I know. I mean, the trumpet player started to walk on stage at least once, and then the keyboard player did a solo, and he turned around and walked back off again. And you
Yeah.
just kind of take charge and grab him by the shoulders, point, and say, "Go over there, do a
Yeah.
solo now." But does that? Where's that come from? The band leading part of it.
Well, that's a great question actually. So I think that the band leading thing comes from playing a lot of really bad gigs. And having to, and just on the inside saying like, I just want things to go better. So maybe if somebody just takes the lead and just designates like a little bit more structure and form,
Yeah.
things go better. And like, and I'm talking about in 1,000 ways. I mean, after having a lot of experience playing music, you realize that for the most part, 100% of the time, something is going to go wrong.
Yeah.
Whether it be in the music or the logistic or something like there's so many parts involved in a musical night that stuff just goes wrong, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to the Latin jazz jam session, there are certain things that are just inherently going to happen because we have a mixture of American jazz musicians playing with Latino jazz musicians, and on one side, like the Afro-Caribbean musicians, they don't know much about jazz. You know, like for example, they don't know songs by Charlie Parker. You know.
Yeah.
And then on the American jazz side, like they don't know what some montuno or rumba or a montuno breakdown is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So since I'm basically one of the couple people at the session that are in between both worlds, and also I'm not playing congas with both my hands all the time. I have the freedom to be able to direct, you know. So it kind of falls on me to like do to like kind of point and shoot. Your turn. Let's do this, you know. Because I've also done the opposite. I've actually like sat down and enjoyed a 2 or 3 song break and let them figure it out. You know, both of those things have educational benefit to it. You know.
Very good. That's interesting. I wanted to ask you a little bit about growing up in Puerto Rico. Have you been to the rainforest, first of all?
Oh yeah, many times for sure. El Yunque. Yeah.
Yeah, El Yunque. I always forget the name of it.
Yeah.
I've been to PR a couple of times on business trips. My wife is Puerto Rican.
Nice.
And, beautiful place. Have you been there recently? What are the conditions like after the hurricane a couple of years ago?
When was the last time I was home? Actually, thank you, Facebook. The last time I was home was exactly a year ago. I'm starting to get those last year posts,
Oh,
you know.
yeah. This is what you were doing a year ago. Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, which is cool. Like literally, 2 days ago, a year ago, I was in Ponce, jumping off of a cliff in the ocean called Cueva del Indio with my girlfriend. It was pretty fun. But yeah, no, that's a really loaded question, and the short answer is that the people of Puerto Rico are really strong, and they've done absolutely everything that they can to make sure that they're in a better place.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, most businesses, most just like general city and like island logistical things are working out. Everything's kind of back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
The big issue lies in In my opinion, of course. The big issue lies in all the money that was lost from that time period.
Oh yeah.
Uh, the money in tourism that was lost, the money in sales, the insurance money that wasn't collected, stuff like the people that couldn't afford to do the reconstruction on their own or reopen their business on their own. So there's a lot of things that were forever changed because of the hurricane, and there's still a lot of controversy happening on a lot of different levels. But for the most part, the people, all my friends, they're back to their daily happenings. I have so many personal stories with friends, and they're for the most part they figured it out. They put it past them, and they're just, I mean, yeah, they're strong people.
Yeah. So it's still a fun place to go, and
Absolutely. Yeah, right now for sure. All this talk about, oh, the crime's higher. No, it's not. All the touristy fun things to do, they're still there.
yeah.
You spoke about El Yunque. A year ago, I think a quarter or half of El Yunque was closed for like road reconstruction and stuff like that. I don't know what the state of it is now, but you can still go up there. The bioluminescent bays are still there, and actually those are even more beautiful than ever because just all the natural happenings from a hurricane just like made those. Have you heard of the bioluminescent bay? Have you heard of those
I
things?
haven't seen that.
So in Fajardo, and also in Fajardo, and also in Aguadilla, like the two southern points, east and west of the island, there are these bays by the ocean that are filled with these microorganisms that when you wade in the water, they shine green. Sort of like fern gully type stuff.
Oh yeah.
And it's a super amazing. It's one of the coolest things to do over there. Yeah, and it's like a biological ecosystem that is like very much still there after the hurricane, which is a big deal.
Yeah. Sure.
But then there just on this topic, just to note some of the bad things, like the coffee economy in Puerto Rico is like down the drain in a very serious way. So there's been a lot of things that are irreparable.
Yeah. So I'm sure the infrastructure's not in great shape either.
Not at all. I mean, by my house, yeah, like growing up there, I go back and I see what businesses changed, what's out of business, and there's strips of like 6 or 7 blocks in areas where like I knew that they were like businesses, and it's all closed down.
Wow.
Local businesses.
Are you from San Juan or Ponce side?
San Juan from Atorrey, yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, go to Puerto Rico if you get a chance, and support the whatever organizations are still. I don't know. I guess it's a federal problem as well as private investment.
Absolutely.
To take place. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, could you give me a brief? Again, I'm thinking of students at Harper College, where my radio show is.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that you didn't start playing the saxophone until you were 16.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was in elementary school choir from 4th grade till 6th, and that continued until 12th grade. I loved the singing. It was a huge part of my life. In high school, in 7th grade, I studied guitar for 2 years. And then when I was 16, in like the second half of 10th grade, a friend of mine lent me a saxophone, and I really enjoyed playing it. And I wanted to be a pilot in the Air Force. And I got too tall to fly F-22.
Wow.
And I don't want to fly. I don't want to fly like Airbuses or anything
Cargo
like
planes,
that.
that kind of thing.
So that plus the not just that, but also my sight. It's a lot of physical things.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed playing saxophone. So by 12th grade, I was already in a couple bands. I was playing jazz. I was in a really serious reggae group that was playing around Puerto Rico a lot.
Yeah.
And I just decided to go to New Orleans to do my bachelor's degree in music.
I love. This is, again, hopefully this is an educational thing. Otherwise, I wouldn't get so personal. But
Yeah.
I have a student a student tenor.
Hmm.
That, I just love the sound of it, so I like to play around with it.
Hmm.
But I looked at baritone saxes, and like a mediocre new Barry sax is $3,000. I can't even imagine what a
Yeah.
vintage sax is. So is that like a business expense for you, or do you have special connections?
Oh, absolutely. No, no. I mean, the best saxophones are very expensive. Not expensive as like the best violins, for example.
Yeah,
But they're also not, 500 years old.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, man, there's a store in Chicago, the saxophone store. It's called PM Music. It's on Main and Custer in Evanston. I tried a Mark VI 1960s a mint condition Barry saxophone. And that thing cost
Yeah.
$13,000. And I sat in that room playing that horn for an hour thinking, if I sell everything I own, like I'm still short,
Yeah.
you know? And, but it sounded so good, and, uh, it took me, till now, 31, to like literally to like this year to really understand the value of good sound.
Yeah.
You know, some people know that right away, and it's the whole like it's not the arrow, it's the Indian.
Yeah.
But that being said, if you have a really nice arrow,
It
your aim's
helps.
better.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I mean, I've over the course of the last 7 years, I've gotten one of each saxophone. Um,
Even a
uh,
soprano.
yeah, in a soprano, alto, tenor, Barry,
Wow.
in a professional, like very good one, and it's taken me a lot. I mean, for a long time, I had like an intermediate tenor, and
Mm.
that was it, and like over the course of time, you just work for it, you do jobs, and you get good horns.
Yeah. You told me you have two 67
Yeah,
Selmer
yeah,
saxophones,
hmm
tenor saxophones,
yeah.
and what kind of baritone do you have?
I have a Super King 20 baritone. Which on the thread that you were talking about, my Barry is an intermediate Barry. It's not like a super professional one, and I really want to, but that's
Yeah.
not happening anytime soon.
Yeah.
Uh, I have a Yamaha Custom Z soprano in silver, and I have a Mark VI alto.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's. I was just talking to somebody about that the other day. How it's amazing how Yamaha not only makes, uh, motorcycles and outboard motors, they also make some of the best musical instruments in the world, which is kind of weird. Everything from pianos to saxophones.
yeah. No, I have no idea how that company decided to branch out like that. Because they make jet skis.
Yeah. I was
You
just
know,
riding one in North Carolina with my son. That's where I was
yeah.
on vacation. And
And they also make like one of the best professional flutes in the world. Is like I don't know the carats of it, but they have like a rose gold flute,
yeah.
and it's something like $26,000, and it's
Wow.
made by Yamaha, and it's amazing. I played one of those.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, and their custom Z saxophone is, to me, if you're not getting a Mark Six, then the custom Z might be the only way to go, at least for me.
Yeah. Flute seems like an odd side instrument to me. I I had a flute, but I gave it away to a friend. But I found it really hard to play. Your breath control has to be so amazing to play a flute for any length of time.
Yeah, it's weird because the saxophone pushes back on you.
Hmm.
You blow air into the saxophone and you feel it resisting.
Uh-huh.
Uh, the flute doesn't resist at all because you're blowing across,
Yeah.
and and it's not one of those things where the harder you blow, the bigger your sound is. It's all about precision in air. It's a crazy instrument for sure.
Yeah, I found it really hard to play the flute, even though I like the sound of it, like I said.
Yeah, same here.
Um, let's see. Um, oh, so we talked about the 90 Mile Cafe. Are you going to take part in the Jazz Fest this year?
The Chicago, the Latin Jazz Fest or the Chicago Jazz Fest?
The Chicago Jazz Fest is one I was thinking of.
Actually, yeah, I am. So last year, my group played at the Chicago Jazz Festival, and that was awesome. And this year, I'm playing with my great friend, bassist Kit Lyles, Kittlyles. He has a large ensemble, a sextet. We recorded an album last year. I tell everybody that Kit writes some of the best large ensemble music I've personally ever played,
Hmm.
and I'm so happy to be playing with him in Chicago at the Jazz Festival, because if there's anybody that deserves to have other people's ears hear their music, it's him. You know, so I'm playing with him at the Chicago Jazz Festival, and then at the Latin Jazz Festival. I'm doing a live interview and talk with master percussionist Alejo Poveda, and we're just gonna sit there like in between one of the sets and just talk about his career. So that's my participation in both of their. And I've never done an interview like that before. So every time I do one, like for example this one, I'm watching you to see how I'm supposed to do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty amateur at it, but I've had a little practice. Um, the let's see, some of the you have a ton of YouTube recordings, which is good. People can find your music.
Hmm.
What's the one that you were just talking about? You played baritone sax on one, but the one that I'm thinking of, you played flute and saxophone and what else?
Well, I just did a recording session 2 days ago. Maybe that's what you were thinking of. I did a recording session for a singer by the name of Claudia La Gitana, and I recorded tenor, alto, and flute. But that's going to be just like a just like a recording for iTunes and Apple and all that stuff.
Mm.
Just but not a video. I do have a video series out. I got a grant through the Department of Cultural Affairs in Chicago last year.
Mm.
I started this video project called Chi-Town Sounds. So I have a couple new videos which they've been really fun to do. Where like we take like artists that for the most part don't cross paths ever,
Yeah.
and we kind of like I either write an original arrangement or a composition, and we get together and we rehearse the same day and we record the same day. And the whole purpose is to bring amazing musicians together on a super tight time frame,
Hmm.
so that everybody just kind of has to put their head in the game.
Yeah. And it keeps it fresh. I assume
Absolutely.
you're not
Yep.
doing 20 takes of the same song.
Yep. Not more than 3 takes actually after the rehearsing. You know.
Yeah. Awesome. Uh, Now for the more creative part of the interview, I guess I told you I was going to ask about dreams.
Hmm.
And do you have any weird dreams that you want to share with the rest of the world or
Sure.
talk about?
By the way, I thought that was really fun that you wanted to talk about that. My best friend when I lived in New Orleans, he wrote down all his dreams in a dream notebook. Um, and then he read books on interpretations and just a bunch of stuff. You know, he was super well versed in it, and I started doing that too for a couple of years. So I have all these dreams written down, and I've noticed that the more you write your dreams down, the more detailed they get. And
The more you remember.
Yeah, absolutely. And I stopped I stopped writing them down a couple of years ago, but there was a point in which I would have a dream and I would write like a 6 page uh super redacted thing where I would remember the detail of engravings on wooden doorknobs, you know?
Wow.
Um
Have you
yeah,
ever tried to read during a dream?
have I ever tried to what?
To read text in a dream. I read somewhere that you can't read uh, writing in a dream, and I've tried it. Like even a stop sign. If you're in a dream and you look at a stop sign, it just looks like nonsense characters. It seems to be
Well,
true.
well, well, I have seen text in my dreams. But maybe following your train of thought. So the text that I've seen on dreams has never been full sentences or full words. Like actually, I remember in this one dream, there were these two doors, and uh, and one would say LMD and RMD, like acronyms, and I knew it standed for left middle door and right middle door. You know, so I've definitely seen acronyms in dreams. You know.
Yeah, I've tried it. Well, you know what lucid dreaming is?
Yeah, where you like you can you feel yourself in a dream, conscious, and you can move and stuff.
Yeah, you know you're dreaming, but you stay in the dream, and that's
Yeah.
one of the consequences of writing down your dreams. So, for one thing, you have to do it right away so you remember because they evaporate so quickly.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
I started when I was younger. I was into meditation and lucid dreaming. You know, being aware that you're dreaming and try to control things in the dream.
Hmm.
So that's how at least in my experience, if you tried to read a book in a dream, you'd know that there were characters and they said something, but you couldn't read it word by word because it's something about
Yeah.
cognizance that part of your brain doesn't work. I guess it's something interesting to
Wow.
try though. See if
Yeah.
see if it's true for you. Um, what about flying dreams? Do you ever have flying dreams?
Absolutely. I had a dream where me and this whole staff of musicians from this gig that I did in New York, we skydove all together. But
In
that's not like flying, you
in
know.
real life or in the dream? You
In the
skydive?
dream, in the dream, yeah,
Oh, I see.
yeah. And it was crazy because it was like this whole staff, like every single one of us. You know, we're on this plane. We went, you know, in real life we were doing this summer gig for 3 months, and in my dream we skydove out of this helicopter all together into this abyss, and we had to like aim our parachutes to go into the abyss.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah,
That's a pretty cool one.
yeah. I've had a lot of really awesome dreams.
That must be something about the group dynamic or something that you internalize that, like, hey, we're all falling together and we have to work together to make it successful. You know,
Yeah, I
something
didn't
like
think
that.
about that, but absolutely, yeah.
Interesting. I read somewhere that you played with Wynton Mars. No, Bradford, Branford Marcel.
Brantford.
Sorry.
Yeah,
What was he like? Did you get to know him, or did you just like hear him play?
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I studied at Northwestern University. I got my master's there, and the director of jazz study is Victor Goins.
Mm.
And Victor Goins plays with Wynton Marsalis and Jazz Lincoln Center. Victor is also from New Orleans, and Branford is actually a really close friend of his. So uh, so Victor Goins wrote this suite called the Crescent City Suite, right? And it was written for New Orleans,
Yeah.
and it was meant to be a saxophone feature. And I'm not sure if he wrote it for Branford to play it, but but in this particular instance, my second year out of college, like he put a band together to play the Crescent City Suite at Northwestern University. And since Mr. Goins had to conduct, like he chose Branford to play it, which was obviously amazing. You know,
He plays soprano, doesn't he?
actually Branford plays all the horns. Yeah.
Okay.
So he plays. Branford plays at this particular gig. He played tenor. His soprano playing is amazing. Um, and I'm not sure about right now actively, but he has very very renowned recordings of him playing classical alto. So he's done it all.
Okay. I don't think I've ever seen him play tenor, but I've seen him
Yeah.
play soprano.
Yeah, he has a DVD of him and his band recreating "A Love Supreme,"
Oh yeah.
uh, and it's amazing. It's so good. But yeah, I think he also plays tenor on Trio GP. But so yeah, I mean, we rehearse with Branford, and he's the type of guy that you know, if he's in town for something, he's hanging. You know, so besides playing, we got to, you know, share food and hang out. And he's an awesome guy. I mean, he's a very very New Orleans person, you know.
Oh yeah.
But he's great. I have like an hour and a half sort of after rehearsal masterclass that he gave us, and I had like these golden 10 minutes of him playing the blues, man. And no, he's great. He's awesome.
I saw him on one of the versions of the Tonight Show. I think it was when Jay Leno.
Oh, I've seen that YouTube video. Yeah.
And he seemed kind of aloof. He didn't really have a lot to say when he was on the show. So I just wondered if he was, you know, a personable, friendly guy, or just kept to himself.
No, he is. He's definitely not an introvert in my opinion. He definitely had a lot to say during rehearsal for sure. I mean, those rehearsals were great, very memorable for sure.
I'm sure. Very good.
Yeah.
Let me be rude and check my notes for a second.
Okay.
I don't want to keep you too long. Oh, I didn't. Well, I just saw a video while I was, you know, warming up the equipment here. Martha EPK.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's my electronic press kit for my my first album, Martha. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we released that album in 2014. Sort of my first very serious jazz album. We got it right up in downbeat, and yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, like I said, I hadn't come across it before, but I really liked what I heard. So that's just, if somebody's looking for a Roy McGrath video, that's Martha is a good place to start. I just wanted to ask you briefly about your travels to China, because my nephew's spent quite a bit of time in China teaching English as a second language and stuff like that. What was your experience like over there?
I love it. So I brought my band to China 3 times in the last 6 years. Every time we go, we do a 1-month tour to China, Singapore, South Korea, and Myanmar.
Oh, wow.
And it's been super eye-opening, and it's been amazing because of so many reasons. I mean, the culture is so different, and I enjoy different cultures. I'm adventurous food-wise, so that super exciting to me. China has some amazing jazz musicians, like stellar musicians, you know. And I mean, South Korea too. I mean, there's a lot of music played over there, and they love it. They love jazz.
Yeah. So the language barrier wasn't a problem?
The language barrier? Oh, it was 100% a problem. Yeah, I mean, most Chinese in China don't speak any English, like whatsoever. It's imagine reversing this. Like, how many Americans speak Chinese? You know, It's the exact same thing, you know. Like most Americans here don't speak any Chinese except ni hao.
Yeah.
Same. It's the same exact thing over there. That's how different our cultures are. And I just gotta say, uh, thank God for Google Translate,
Oh yeah.
because it has literally saved me 1,000 times. So, uh, my first year going to China, Google Translate and Google Translate app didn't exist. So I had to find translation softwares to like email all the club owners, right? Uh, Once we got to China, right? That's it. We were in it with nothing except, yeah, you know, except with like maybe a clipboard of symbols and just stuff to say, you know.
Wow.
Um, that was 6 years ago. Now you can speak into your phone and it'll translate to Chinese and speak to the person and vice versa. And you can hold your phone up to a menu or a street sign and it'll translate it. So it's gotten way easier, and it's made my life so much easier.
I've heard about that, but I didn't know they perfected it that.
Yeah. Oh no, it's amazing technology, and the best part is that you can download it offline to your phone. So when you get over there, and the Chinese firewall and the VPN and all that international data stuff is messing up your phone signal, you already have it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Tools for the traveling musician and person. Download it whenever you go somewhere else. It's awesome.
All right. Well, I'm about at the end of my list of questions. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I really appreciate you
Yeah.
taking the time.
Of course, man. Yeah.
What I plan on doing is I'm going to edit the audio, like I said, and mix it in with some of your music and
Cool.
the rest of the Dream Show, whatever that turns out to be. But I'll post the entire video on the. I'm, I'll probably convert it to something less data intensive
Hmm.
and put it on YouTube, and then they usually put a link on the Harper College
Cool.
website so everybody can see it.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you. Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, I really appreciate you, yeah, opening up and taking the time.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
keep up the good work. I love your music.
Yeah, and bring your saxophone to the jam one time, man. Just like whatever tune you want to play. Let's do it.
Yeah, you know the kid that was doing the shaker. I would be worse than that kid if I brought my saxophone.
That kid was pretty good at shaking. I was surprised. He kept time.
He was into it. Yeah, he
Yeah.
didn't seem to be too embarrassed or anything.
No, he's whatever it is that he's got it. He like somebody's got to put instrument in that kid's hands for sure.
Yeah, really. All right, thanks again, Roy.
Yeah, you got it. All right, Jeff.
All right, take care, and I'll talk to you later.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.